Welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Racing League, here at round 3 at the Watkins Glen. Presented by ANSE3D. We have a very special race happening tonight. We have over 35 drivers on the grid. As practice is winding down right now, we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on that. It's going to be a pretty, I hope, interesting race. With that many drivers on the grid, we can see a lot of different action happening out on track. So far, we have Matt Shack in P1 on the practice times. He's done a 1:44.5. And Joshua Grosso just behind him with a 1:44.6. A lot of fast drivers. P1 through P8 are in the 1:44s. And P9 through P24 are in the 1:45s, which means very close margins for these drivers, even on their fastest lap they've been able to accomplish. We're going to see some race pace, probably roughly about the same from these drivers. A couple seconds off that, but definitely close driving from a lot of the grid. A lot of the drivers that are going to definitely surprise us in this race. A lot of BMWs. It seems to be the favorite car of the grid. If not a BMW, it's the Porsches. The Porsche 911. And with only 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go, I'll just show you a little bit of the results here. We have Matt Shack, Joshua Grosso, Chris Chittling, Joey Jr. in P3, Patrick Gannon in P4, or P5. Joey Jr. is in P4, and Patrick Gannon's in P5. Tyler Anderson P6. And Colin Luckhurst in P7, Paolo Langer in P8, Aubrey Kundal in P9, Noah Hodgkinson rounding out the top 10. So, like I said, a lot of 145 seem to be the thing here. Almost, you got a bunch, some people in the 146s, and then a few trailing off after that, but definitely going to be a really interesting race. A lot of close driving. I can already predicting it now. And qualifying will only be 10 minutes with 35 drivers on the grid. It's an open qualifying session, so getting a lap out is going to be more important than trying to set the fastest time, I'd say. There's going to be a lot of traffic. Very contentious traffic, more than likely. And there's Chris Whedon, who goes to P11 with the 145.1. And looks like Timothy Bray is the first driver to go out on track. Now looking at Timothy Bray from Team Upstate, his teammate is Patrick Gannon. It's also in the mix. In terms of the track map right now, he is definitely got a little bit of traffic that he's gonna have to contend with going into his push lap. He's got a guy 4 seconds behind him, but Matt Shack, who's a pretty fast boy himself, is just ahead, but 2.4 seconds. I think that's a good enough of a gap. good enough margin, especially with how quick Matt is. I wonder if that's going to affect him at all. So we'll pop right back on to Timothy Bray, who is on his push lap. And up the S's we go into the back straight. Like I said before, I think it's going to be more about setting a real, just a banger lap in. Just get that in, and then go for your push lap after that. There's no sense in... Ooh, that looks a little unsettling on entry through the bus stop. Into the boot we go. Accelerating nicely through the apex, and let's see if Timothy Bray can't set this on pole. He's got nothing but clean air ahead of him. Closest driver ahead is 20 seconds, so good margins there. And with just a couple corners left, he's really going to need to pull off a 144 even. That would be the equivalent to what happened in practice. And that would be a good base to go to the next lap with. But we'll see as he's crossing the line here. He pulls off a 145.4. Puts him to P1, but just barely. As Audrey Kundal crosses the line, he goes to P1. And there's Matt Shack crossing the line with a 144.2. Patrick Gannon just behind with a 144.4. Alex Carver crosses the line. He goes to P5 with a 145.4. Eddie Layton crosses the line. He's gone P4 with 145. Drops down the order slightly. Chris Whedon crosses the line with a 145.2. Eddie... There's a lot of people crossing the line right now as Eric Rodriguez goes to P8. Timothy Bray's dropped down to P9. Todd Malik is to P10. James A. Pierce to P11. Kyle Aiken in 12. Miller Dorajo in P13. Chris Lambeth in 14. Tyler Anderson crosses the line and goes to P4. Zachary Bryan in P16. Jonathan Cooper in P17. Steve McAllister in P19. And somebody just crossed the line. That's Colin Luckhurst and Chris Chitterling. Chris Chitterling just got to P3 with a 144.8. Colin Luckhurst to P4 with a 144.8. Separated by a couple thousandths of a second. That's insane. Chris Granger crosses the line. He goes to P17. Ryan Jeevan goes across the line, and he goes to P24. Andrew Korstecki in P25, Yolgun Badcraft in P18, Austin McGill in P12. The shakeup is happening. Paolo Langer to P6. Now we got to look at a driver who's up on his time. That is going to be Patrick Gannon. He is P2, but he can see what he does as he crosses the line. He's going to call it good there as he goes across the line. He goes P1 with a 144.2, barely beating out Matt Shack. Joey Jr. crosses the line from ANSE3D with a P3 144.5. Well, 144.4. Jonathan Cooper crosses the line, improves on his time. He goes to P20 with a 146.3. Kyle Aiken pushes across the line, improves on his time. He just did a 145.3, goes to P11. A lot of drivers still haven't hit their mark yet, as we have Sahaj Padir in just give me a nice, you're cute there on that header. In Sector 2, going into Sector 3, let's see if he can improve upon his time. Colin Luckhurst improves and goes to P4 with 144.8, just outbeating Tyler Anderson there. Yolgun Badcraft crosses the line, goes to P16, improves on his time. David Gauntlet crosses the line, and he goes to P20. And let's see Sahaj Padir here in the Porsche. Gets a little bit of a tow from Adrian Fedorsky as he's going to cross the line. Both these drivers have not set a time, but where could they go? And P10 for Sahaj. And looking at Adrian Fedorsky, he goes across the line to P29. And Gary Schilling, another driver who is battling it out there, into the penultimate corner. Where's he going to shape up? Is this a push lap for him? He's not on an out lap, but where is he going to put that? Eric Rodriguez goes to P14. Gary Schilling, P32 for the driver. Noah Hodgkinson and Joshua Grasso, two drivers that are teammates. Noah's going straight through. Oh, that's unfortunate. Definitely is against track limits there, but we have Joshua Grasso. Trey Mistak crosses the line. He goes to P9. No change from P1 to P2 to P3 just yet. All the same. Joshua Grasso still has the opportunity to make something happen. His teammate, however, does not on this lap, having violated track limits. We got 1 minute and 30 to go. Noah Hodgkinson is only going to be able to do it one time. Timothy Bray across the line, improves on his time. He was in the teens, and now he's 7th. P7 for Timothy Bray of Team Upstate. And Patrick Gannon has yet to be dethroned from P1, having set provisional pole on his first or his second push lap. That was first. I think it was his first. And Joshua Grasso crosses the line and goes to P7 with a 144.8. This is Noah Hodgkinson's only attempt that he'll be able to get through. Matthew Wyckoff goes to P31. The 146.7. Is Noah going to be able to pull off an impressive feat? He's got to stay within track limits for this lap to count. Doesn't want to sit in the back of the pack and have to do a lengthy stint trying to pass people as Joshua Grasso lets him by. Miller Darajo goes to P9, jumps up several positions for sure, as he was in the teens. Now he's in the top 10. Alex Carver up 4 positions from P15 to P12 as he crosses the line. That's an improvement there. Noah Hodgkinson, one of the only drivers on the grid that has not set a time on the board. What will his time be? What position will he get? I think this is all within track limits. And Noah Hodgkinson goes P11 with a 145.1. So every driver on the grid has set a time. There was enough space, and Austin McGill crosses the line, and he goes to P10. Dropping Noah Hodgkinson to P12. Trey Mistak, maybe one of the last drivers to cross the line, maybe try to improve upon his time. Nope, he is going to stop before. Call it good. Will Coffey and P26. Not sure if he's trying to improve on his time. We have 53 seconds left of... It's possible he did get across that line. And, ooh, as he touches the grass right there, it's definitely going to be not an improvement. And thanks Seeger Vivo for the follow. And Adrian Fedorsky is showing off a little bit of skill and class there at the penultimate corner. That nice little burnout. Gonna enter the pits. And James A. Pierce still out there. Definitely too late for him to set up a time. He is P23. And there's the session. Qualifying has ended and this race is about to start, folks. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the Broken Wing Racing League. This is the GT3 Sunday race. Brought to you by ANSE3D. As we are about to get underway. There are 35 drivers on the grid here at Watkins Glen. In the track formation is going to be the boot with the boot. And the bus stop. As we still have a few drivers that haven't made it to the grid just yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers still have yet to get to the grid. They have 45 seconds to do so. Hopefully everyone's getting their bathroom break in right away. As we have 25.5 laps to go. That is... Oh, we're about to start. Go to the chopper cam here. Good look at... Actually, no. Switch it up. Let's see if this grid can enter turn 1 safely. And exit it safely and into the S's. It's always slightly contentious. There is a driver that did not set... Oh, every driver is there. Joey... Got Patrick Gannon, Matt Shack, Joey Jr., and Chris Chilling all in the top 4. Two first rows there. About to go green. Patrick Gannon can kind of push it off. And there he goes. That's Joey Jr. taking P2 already. Down the inside line. He's going to have the run. Oh. He gets the space. He keeps the space. Is Matt Shack going to be pushed off? He's not. They're going to go 2 by 2 again into the S as they go. And that is Joey Jr. keeping P2, or losing P2 to Matt Shack as Colin Luckhurst looks to see what's going to happen after that. And he files in, but we still... Oh, no! Back in the grid! There is some drivers that are just dropping down the order as we have several drivers in the pits. That is no bueno, folks. That is rough. And it looked like Joey Jr. was going to have himself a moment as Matt Shack takes the fight to Patrick Gannon for P1 already. Is he going to outbreak him into this apex? Is it possible? They're still going side by side. A little wide, but he has the room for that defensive line. Patrick Gannon is going to be able to keep that for now, but Joey Jr. takes a look up down the inside line on Matt Shack. still no change in the top 5. And that might have been his only chance for now, but Colin Luckhurst looks to be trying to do the same here. And that is Patrick Gannon in P2. And the battle for the lead is still on. Porsche overtaking the BMW into turn 1. That is something else. And they're still side by side, but into the bus stop they go. Joey Jr. can't make up any room there. He just has to let these two battle it out. And Matt Schack now maintaining the lead. And down a driver goes in the order. You can only imagine that there's some funny businesses happening in the background here, as we have Joshua Grosso attempting to get out of P8 and into P7. He's fighting Timothy Bray. Timothy Bray up on the inside line against Tyler Anderson. There's nowhere for Joshua to go. And is that a move? He's got the inside line for the next corner. Is he going to be able to pass Timothy for that position? It looks like he's going to be going P7, and he is! And Timothy Bray is into the wall as Joshua Grosso goes through, and Timothy Bray loses multiple positions to that. And Grosso goes through. And no change from Matt Schack, Patrick Gannon, and Joey Jr. Colin Luckhurst just behind. And Chris Chitterling as two drivers enter from the pit lane. That is going to be Will Kofi and Andrew Korostecki down a lap. They're definitely not going to fight anyone going into this next couple of corners here. But that leaves a lot to be desired there for some of these drivers not wanting to take this too wide with like Andrew Korostecki there. He is going to have to slot in. And Eddie Layton going from P18 to P17, overtaking Austin McGill with Todd Malik just ahead of him. Todd Malik just sitting out there with a good, comfortable gap and 2 seconds in front of him, 0.4 behind him. Noah Hodgkinson overtaking Miller Durajo for P8. Little flash might have been, hey, good move, or hey, no, I didn't like that. You can never tell with some of these drivers. As Joshua Grosso goes down the inside line and just has to pass Andrew Korostecki, and some of these drivers are making that move as well. It's definitely costing some of them some time there, as Will Coffey is just behind. It looks like there's more drama happening, but these two are just on their outlap, and it may not even look good for them, as one of the drivers jumps back into the pit lane and is probably going to call it. Y'all got bad wrath. Oh no! As Saj Padir goes into the wall, possibly. Let's take a look back and see exactly what happened. And just loses the rear, and that is unfortunate. Kyle Granger and oh no, as Adrian Fedorsky goes off, he's going to be losing some positions, as we have other drivers gaining some. There's David Gauntlet also making up a spot, and Gary Schilling also making up a spot there. Alex Carver, who's in P10 with ANSE3D Racing. Trying to make a move on Andrew Korostecki. Goes to the inside. And a couple of drivers are also trying to make that move, too. We got Eric Rodriguez in the blue, car number 14, just behind. That's his teammate, Andrew Gorsecki, as Andrew lets them all by, definitely giving them some space. And that's Alex Carver through. That's Timothy. Oh, no. As Eric Rodriguez just goes down the order. And I'm not even sure what just happened there. Oh, gosh. It's looking pretty bad. And things are shaping up that one could not describe. As Timothy Bray crosses the line, he's going to be going in P10, not P11. And I'm not sure what happened with Eric Rodriguez. We have Patrick Gannon 1.1 seconds behind Matt Shack. He was the winner last round. Joey Jr. just behind. Noah Hoskinson and Miller Durajo battling it out for P8. And Noah ahead. And that looks like that might have happened right there on the back straight. Joshua Grosso is just ahead of his teammate by 2.6 seconds. Oh. And there goes Miller Durajo ahead. Huh? Alright, let me piece this together in a second. Was P8, now he's P10. Timothy Bray's ahead of him. And that might have been Aubrey Condal that got ahead of him just for a moment. Colin Luckhurst still in P4 with Chris Chitterling just behind. You have Tyler Anderson and Joshua Grosso who have been right on each other for this entire race. And this type of competitiveness, pace for pace, they are doing about the same lap. It is going to be on maybe a move down the inside line. Is going to try to make it happen? No, he has to. Whoa! And Tyler Anderson goes off! No! Oh, and he keeps it out of the barriers, folks. But Tyler Anderson loses a position when he was about to just say you can't make any mistakes here or position would be lost like that. And there he goes. But not out of the fight. It's a long race. 20 more laps to go. I think he could pull this back. He just loses one position for now to Joshua Grosso. And this group has just been about the same. With Timothy Bray at the start of that train from P9 all the way to P14 there. Actually, yeah, P14. It's Paolo Langer in the background as the last car in this little train. Looks like they have the pace to do so. Whoa! And that is Aubrey Condal down a couple positions there. Some of the other drivers, as Trey Mistack gets a position off of that, P12 for him. Alex Carver also the same. That's Aubrey down to P14. One little mistake can cost that much when these drivers are so close. And the field is not that spread out. And we still have 30 drivers on the grid, so 5 have retired. On board with Trey Mistack. Finds himself on par with the drivers ahead of him and behind him. A little mini DRS train. But nothing is too close together at this moment in time, folks. Everybody's found themselves a little bit of a gap, minus these 5 drivers. And Aubrey Condal, car number 143 in P14, definitely clawing back some of that time to these drivers ahead of him. As we see Paulo Langer trying to make a move, possibly, on the Lamborghini. Down into the inside he goes slightly, slots back in, and doesn't make it happen. Thank you, Gilbert. I hope you are enjoying it. So, a lot of great driving happening right now from all these drivers. And just at the top there, that LL is the last lap. Green meaning it's a better lap than they've done before. Gray means it's not as good as their laps prior. And purple, given our only driver gets that, is the fastest lap, and that goes to Matt Shack with a 144.7. I'm actually with the 144.6. His last was 1/10 down from that. So he is putting out some impressive laps as the gap to Patrick Gannon goes to 2 seconds. And another little mini pack forming here as Colin Luckhurst leads it with Chris Chitterling in the middle and Noah Hodgkinson. Sorry, Joshua Grosso. They are teammates. They're in the same livery. Confusion was met there, folks. Sorry about that. But Joshua Grosso in P6 looks like he was able to pull away from Tyler Anderson after that little mistake that Tyler Anderson had, and is now finding himself in contention for what could be P4 out of this. We've seen Joshua Grosso finish in impressive top 5 the last round. I believe it was top 5 as he overtakes that driver down the inside line on Chris Chitterling, and he makes it happen, folks. That is P5 for Joshua Grosso. And I don't know if Chris was caught sleeping there, but that was an impressive move down the inside line, using traffic to his advantage. Chris Chitterling couldn't fight back. Back on board with Joshua Grosso, who's made some impressive overtakes so far. And his teammate, Noah Hodgkinson, who started in P12, is down to P8. This team is looking strong, as they are going to take home some impressive points if they could keep this up. He's definitely on the limit. Colin Luckhurst is going to the inside defensively and they don't go side by side. And it looks like he loses out a little bit there as Chris Chitterling is about to go. Oh, no, he has to slot back in. It looked like he was about to be able to go to the outside and make a move, but not yet. And is Joshua Grosso going to try something on the outside line on Colin Luckhurst? Very defensive move for Colin. But he can keep it here if he stays. And whoa! Really keeping it defensive. To the outside, Joshua Grosso goes. But he's going to have the inside line if he keeps it together. But no, he's so wide. Now he has to defend against Chris Chitterling as they go side by side into the next corner. Oh, and Chris is definitely going to have to keep it out of the grass there. And Joshua Grosso keeps P5, but barely. And that driver in the black and red and yellow. Oh, as we have a driver off. And I don't think that was for position. That was Ryan Jeevan. And that is Tyler Anderson in the background there, who's able to pull back and get close to Joshua Grosso and Chris Chitterling. He is definitely back in the fight. And out of the S's they go into the back straight. Now Joshua Grosso is going to have to keep this really defensive. And that looks to be Chris Chitterling. Oh, marginally. It looked marginally ahead, but definitely behind. Tyler Anderson looks to have gone a little wide on the entry. That corner definitely pulled him back just a couple of tenths there. I think Joshua isn't going to be able to make anything happen on Colin Luckhurst at this moment. He's definitely lost about 9/10 now. But we'll jump back on board and take a look at him later. Joey Jr. in P3. Patrick Gannon in his sights. He's 4/10 off as they go through a couple more corners into the penultimate corner on the start tray finish. Half a second. It's down half a second. And Matt Shack has made his mark and pushed ahead with a 4-second gap to P3. To Patrick Gannon, that's 3.4 seconds. And the top three have not changed positions in some time since the start of the race. Looked like Joey Jr. is going to have himself that moment where he could have taken P2 from Matt Shack, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And now you can see him off in the distance having his own little race here. Matt Shack and his teammate is P12. Trey Midstack. I think that's team Big Stack. I think Stack Shack would have been cooler. I don't know. It's still a cool name. Shake Stack. Stack Shack. One sounds a little bit more clean, I would say. But Shake Shack Matt is comfortably ahead in P1 with Patrick Gannon and Joey Jr. just behind. And Colin Luckhurst still ahead of this little group. Joshua Grosso, Chris Chitterling, Tyler Anderson, and Noah Hoskinson. Look at the pace out of Noah. He was able to join this fight. He is now only 2/10 behind Tyler Anderson, and he can see his teammate just ahead. But Timothy Bray of Team Upstate just behind. Only 8/10 off of Noah Hoskinson. I think he can come back there. It looks like on the timing sheet, Timothy Bray is 1/10 faster than Noah Hoskinson on the last lap. And that might be the case again. And if so, he will slowly claw at trying to get closer to these drivers. They go too wide through turn one. And it looks like Noah's going to have it over Tyler Anderson, but they're going to go up into the S's this way, giving themselves plenty of room. Tyler Anderson definitely gets a good run into the back straight. And look at that. Timothy Bray now has an opportunity to overtake Noah Hodgkinson. Not quite there yet. It always looks like it, though. As we jump on board... Oh. It looked closer than what it was, but still not quite close enough. Being on board with Joey Jr. in P3, he's still 3/10, 4/10, half a second. He was 2/10 down the last lap in this corner, penultimate corner. Now he's actually up this time. Is it possible he tries to make something happen on the start straight finish or into the... He's definitely clawing. He's now 1/10 separating these two drivers. But he's just going to follow him through. Maybe make something happen before bus stop. And not sure where Joey Jr. is going to find the time on Patrick Gannon just yet. As we approach the halfway point, we could see any number of these drivers pulling the trigger on pitting for that mandatory pit stop and doing the undercut and seeing if that seems to be the shakeup that everyone needs. Joshua Grasso now on the back of Colin Luckhurst, only separated by 1/10. We've seen Joshua Grasso overtake many drivers on the grid. Can he make this one happen as well? To the outside, really putting it close to Colin Luckhurst, who's not having to defend just yet. But we can probably see that happening on this. Oh, no, nothing yet. Chris Chitterling out there in the background in P6, that white and pink livery. Only separated by 2/10. He's gonna get closer, but not by... Oh. We got Miller Darajo in the pit lane. Tyler Anderson in the pit lane. This is the moment, folks. We have a lot of drivers making that move. They're pulling the trigger, and they're going to see if they can't make an undercut happen. And Tyler Anderson was P7 or 8? It's P8, I believe. But when he gets back out, we'll definitely get a feel for what that undercut's going to look like as he has dropped down the order to P17, P18, P19. Still going down the order, but once everyone makes those stops, it's going to be a lot different. Wondering if his strategy is the better strategy, or is the overcut the strategy. For some drivers, it will be, depending on where they have track position and good clean air to do your own little race and hope for the best on your outlap. Don't want to get caught in traffic. But with it being such a nail-biter here, if I was Joshua Grasso, I would be thinking about undercutting Colin Luckhurst and trying to get back out on track and just make a move naturally that way through the pit stop strategy. And there goes Matt Shack into the pit lane. He was P1. Joey Jr. overtakes Patrick Gannon into turn 1 for position. That is P1, and Patrick Gannon now has to fight back. Had P1 when Matt went to the pit lane, but now Joey Jr. somehow found the pace, found the speed, and he is battling for P1. And the move that Patrick Gannon did not want is happening. Having to defend is not great for his chances at the overcut on Matt Shack. Matt Shack could come back out comfortably with nobody around him and just go for a good lap. But Patrick Gannon is having to fight, which means that's going to make him slower and ultimately just not a great pit stop. And Matt Shack is out on his outlap. He is P9 at the moment. And he's got Eric Rodriguez 6/10 back, but it looks like he's kind of going to be extending that slightly. A couple of lapped cars of James Pierce and Charles Whedon also in the background there. So good track position for Matt Shack to come back out. Nobody really ahead of him. It's 10 seconds ahead of him. So that's actually really impressive for him. As Tyler Anderson, he looks to be in P17, and he's going to be gaining some positions. And Patrick Gannon and Joey Jr. are in the pit lane. So awful that they had to fight through the first sector, and that's going to make them both slow to Matt Shack, who now is going into the penultimate corner into the start straight finish. He's literally going to have a massive gap for him. The undercut is what worked. As you can see him crossing the line and into turn 1 he goes. Patrick Gannon is barely leaving the pit lane. And Matt Shack takes back pole and is P1 with a 3-second gap to Patrick Gannon. That gap is now 6 seconds. And Joey Jr. and Patrick Gannon fully lost out on this move. It's such a travesty there, as they now have traffic to battle through. And oh no, Patrick Gannon also, with a mistake of some sort, let Joey Jr. by. Oh, that must have just had too much speed carried into that corner. Who knows? But there goes Joey Jr. taking P2 from Patrick Gannon. The race winner, folks. Patrick Gannon last round. Now down to P3. Joshua Grosso overtakes Colin Luckhurst in the pits. Is it possible? Looking at his stint right now, it looks like Joshua Grosso on his outlap, he has gone in the pits and overtaken Colin Luckhurst, who also... Oh, Joshua Grosso went for the overcut. What I can tell here is Colin Luckhurst is already went into the pits, and that did not serve him well, as we can now see the shakeup from the pit strategy unfold. Joshua Grosso into P3, with Chris Chitterling into P4. And Colin Luckhurst, unfortunate. Oh, he's going back into the pit lane. And is this race over for him? He is... Oh, that's just disappointing. From P4 down the order he goes. And I don't even know what to say to that. And it looks like Tyler Anderson's another driver who didn't luck out on his pitch strategy, as he's dropped to P13 from P8 or P9. And Noah Hodgkinson goes to P5 from that. Chris Schitterling, not sure what happened there. Oh, is that damage? Oh, that's a lot of damage. Chris Schitterling, his chances of keeping P5 are gone. That is unshakable amount of damage here. As we can see it unfolding, it doesn't look like his car is straight. And he's having to fight it. That goes Eddie Layton on the inside. Definitely going to outbrake him there and take that position possibly. For Schitterling having to go super wide, and into the grass he goes. Not trying to fight that, but Tyler Anderson's going to have to make a move. And you can just see him wrestling that car. It slots in behind Tyler Anderson. That's a position for Tyler Anderson as well, into P12. Is Chris Schitterling going to go into the pit lane? No, he is not. He's gonna live with the damage, and now it's just about trying to limit the amount of positions lost. Paolo Langer's in P8 here, folks. Alex Carver in P7. Timothy Bray of Team Upstate in P6. Noah Hodgkinson just behind his teammate, Joshua Grosso. And that is an ultimate fantastic result for these two teammates. To be able to take home points like this, be good for the team championship. It's Patrick Gannon, 6/10 down from Joey Jr. And the real star of the show, folks, is Matt Shake Shack. P1, car number 222, has a 6-second gap. An ultimate strategist on the pit strategy there. He went in early, got out, didn't have to battle anyone. And that little battle between Joey Jr. and Patrick Gannon really unseated them from any competition they could have had to P1 right now. Instead, having to settle with defending to keep P2, and it looks like Joey Jr. is going to have to do so for the next 5 laps. And there's Will Coffey in P25. Jonathan Cooper in P24. Charles Whedon, P23. Steve McAllister in P22. David Gauntlet in P21. Chris Lambert in P20. Adrian Fedorsky in P19. Colin Luckhurst down to P18. It's unfortunate for him. I won't make any puns in regards to luck, but it is truly unfortunate for Colin Luckhurst. Kyle Granger into P17. Eric Rodriguez in P16. Miller Darajo in P15. Todd Malik in P14. Possibly Colin Luckhurst's teammate. Have the same livery. Looks like Chris Schitterling is still having to keep that limitation. It looks like Eddie Layton at some point was overtaken by Tyler Anderson, who takes P11. But Chris Schitterling is not losing hope just yet. He's keeping this car next to these drivers, so he's not he definitely doesn't have any top speed issues if he's able to keep up with these drivers ahead of him. But it does look like Todd Malik is just behind and might be able to make something happen on one of the straightaways, hopefully. And he is 3/10 off. On board with the Audi of Todd Malik. Can he gain some toe off the straight? Send it down the inside line on Chris Schitterling. Or is there not enough damage to make a move on that car? Like I said, I don't think he's down on top speed if he's able to keep up with these other drivers. And not yet, as Chris Schitterling takes the inside line, going defensive. Is this going to be the moment that these two clash? And he slots back in behind. And Paulo Langer. And look at that, there's two of them. ANSE3D, two different liveries. Not teammates, I don't think. Paulo Langer and Alex Carver only separated by 1/10 at the moment. That's definitely just one car length there. Oh, he goes for the inside line and he takes it. And Alex Carver, very wide. There goes Paulo Langer through for P7. Just set that up perfectly before the penultimate corner. And already looks like he's going to be pulling slightly away there. No, is Alex Carver going to try to fight back into the first corner? Nope. He's going to follow through. That is another position for Paulo Langer, who started P11. So definitely a solid result for Paulo so far. With about 3 laps left to go. Timothy Bray, P6. Noah Hoskinson still sitting in P5. Joshua Grosso ahead of his teammate by almost 5 seconds. And 10 seconds to Patrick Gannon. I think Joshua Grosso is just going to have to settle for P4. Was in P3 for a short second on that shakeup, but dropped back down. And here's it finally happening. Todd Malik trying to make something happen on Chris Schitterling. I don't know if you're a fan of it, but I'm a fan of the Audi. The sound it makes is one of a kind. And one of the only drivers on the grid to be in an Audi besides Chris Lambeth. It's a interesting stat there, as most drivers are in the Porsche 911 or BMW. One Lambo is also on the field and a couple Mercedes. Chris Schitterling goes a little wide, but doesn't lose time to that at all. Might be a slight defensive strategy there, going slightly offline to not really give that full tow. But you can see the kind of like the slingshot effect there as they get super close, but it's how you do well on that exit. And I don't think it's going to be this lap just yet, as again he goes really defensive. Gets back there on the racing line and goes into the bus stop just fine. Whoa! Looked like a little slide out of Todd. Angled a little bit further into the apex. Might have been able to get back onto the power a little bit, but it looks like he's losing out some time here into Sector 2. This may not be his sector that he gains on Chris Schitterling, but I think Chris Schitterling is doing a fantastic job at defending with the damage that he has. That was going to be a top 5 finish for Chris Schitterling, but you can definitely see that he's a top 5 driver. Still using all of his capacity to keep that car ahead of Todd Malik. And 1 second separates Alex Carver and Paolo Langer from the battle earlier. But Timothy Bray's now on the heels of Noah Hodgkinson. Is something going to happen here? As they go side by side. I think Noah's going to stay ahead there. He does. And he's not losing too much here. Although Timothy Bray was 0.2 slower on that last lap, he still reeled him in. But now he's separated by 0.4. In this battle, while I'm hoping something's going to happen here, I don't want to commentate or curse any of the drivers, but Timothy Bray has only 2 laps remaining to make something happen over Noah Hodgkinson for P5. And that wasn't the white flag just yet to go on board with Matt Shack, who's sitting comfortably ahead by 5.5 seconds to Joey Jr. So in the realm where you really need to claw back a lot of time, only being able to claw back 0.5 on a driver this stage is definitely not going to be anything happening there. Patrick Gannon is 1.6 seconds back. Joshua Grosso still in P4. Noah Hodgkinson slightly having to defend again for his position, but may be able to keep it. Todd Malik, one of the only other drivers on the grid that's still having to battle. We have Kyle Granger just behind Colin Luckhurst at 0.6, 0.7. Not really looking to see where this driver is right now. Here we go back on board with Matt Shack. And is that the white flag? That is the white flag. This is the last lap. And he's going to take it on home. And back to Timothy Bray, who's now battling it out. Goes through and overtakes Noah Hodgkinson. Caught myself there, folks. Down into the penultimate corner they go. Is Noah going to try to have a go back at him? He can't squeeze him too much. He's definitely trying. But that line exists. And they go almost too wide there. And this battle is going to continue into the S's. No, it is not. 1 lap to go. Timothy Bray might be able to keep this together. And that'd be a nice result for Team Upstate as well, with Patrick Gannon in P4 and Timothy Bray in P5. Sorry, Patrick Gannon in P3 and Timothy Bray in P5. But also Joshua Grosso and Noah sitting in 4 and 6. The battle of teams is definitely unfolded. You wish Joshua would be able to move up a little, make this a duo team battle. But it is not there. I think we are kind of situated there as Chris Chierling loses out that position finally to Todd Malik before they even entered the bus stop. And that is P13 for Todd. But it is not over as Chris Chierling. Oh, no! Oh! Oh! And there he goes. Damage limitation is just rot for naught. That is... Oh, that it might be a broken car, folks. It is surely not straight. And yes! Ah, no. And that is Colin Luckhurst gets hit. And that is a driver that overtakes Colin Luckhurst. Kyle Granger gets by because of that. Oh, no. That is definitely unfortunate. Matt Shack crosses the line, takes P1. Joey Jr. takes P2. Joshua Grosso. No, Patrick Gannon takes P3. Joshua Grosso goes to P4. Timothy Bray keeps P5. Noah Hodgkinson takes P6. Paolo Langer takes P7. Alex Carver takes P8. Aubrey Condell takes P9. Trey Mistak goes to P10. Tyler Anderson crosses the line at P11. Eddie Layton crosses the line at P12. Todd Malik goes to P14. Eric Rodriguez to 15. Miller Durajo in 16. Kyle Granger in 17. Colin Luckhurst in 18. I know it's slightly different, but some people have already left the server. Just take a look at the results. Kyle Granger in 16, Colin Luckhurst in 17, Chris Schitterling in 18, Adrian Fedorsky in 19, Chris Lambeth in 20, David Gauntlet in 21, Steve McAllister in 22, one lap down, Charles Whedon 24, and 23, Will Coffey in 24, Will Coffey in 24, Jonathan Cooper in 25, Y'all Gun Bagrath in 26, Zahaj Padir in 27, James Pierce in 28, Ryan Jeevan in 29, Gary Schilling in 30, Austin McGill in 31, Kyle Aiken in 32, Andrew Korostecki in 33, and Matthew Wyckoff in 34, and Zachary Bryant in 35. And that is it, folks. What a fantastic result. Looking at the grid, we have a driver that was Kyle Dranger went from 29 to 16. Eric Rodriguez went from 20th to 14th. Todd Malik to 22 to 13. Some really impressive results. Aubrey Condell from 16 to 9. Trey Mistak from 15 to 10. Alex Carver 14 to 8. Paolo Langer 11 to 7. Not much of a very impressive win for him as Noah Hodgkinson went 12 to 6. Cut that right in half. Timothy Bray 8 to 5. Joshua Grosso 7 to 4. And the shakeup from the top three, Matt Shack wins this round and will be going into it with a lot more points. I think might be on par with Patrick Gannon. I think he won the second race and top three in the first race, possibly. We'll get some look at the numbers there. Thank you for joining us. We'll do this next week at the same time, 9:10 Eastern, for the qualifying session to start. This is Broken Wing Racing League for the GT3 class. If you want to join it, you could definitely hop on the Discord and join us. We also do F4 races, and those are on Tuesdays. So stay tuned for those as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Gober, for being here, and have a good evening.